don't see our leaders, actually dialoguing with each other.
Meritocracy of older people. You can see there's different elder councils from different tribal groups that are essentially running things and overlooking us young people.
Convince that person that, please, I am me, I'm not they.
Nobody even showed up to vote. It was only me and my roommate.
a fire. Yeah, he must come true today. We are believers, believing in the struggle. Yeah, he must come true today.
President Kiir and the ruler of Ajman discussed bilateral relations between South Sudan and the United Arab Emirates. South Sudan and Sudan commit themselves to a PI protocol. And Cuba University and the World Food Program signed a memorandum of understanding to promote sustainable development in the country. Good afternoon and thank you for tuning in to SSBC. I am Mathiang Joseph. President Kiir and the ruler of Ajman, Sheikh Hamid bin Rashid Al Nahmi, discussed bilateral relations, investment opportunities, and matters of concern between South Sudan and the United Arab Emirates. Hamid bin Rashid expressed his country's support to improve South Sudan's economy and infrastructure. Speaking to the media, the Minister of Presidential Affairs, Dr. Barnaba Marial Benjamin, said the meeting focused on investment and trade.
وفي تسريع صحفي لوسائل الإعلام قال وزير إن المباحثات بين الجانبين ركز على سبل تعزيز العلاقات التعاونية بين جمهورية جنوب السودان والدولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة، مضيفا
President Salva Kiir Mayardit arrived United Arab Emirates, Abu Dhabi, since last Sunday and has been visiting this morning, airlifted with a helicopter to one of the states, the state of Ajman, which is one of the 7 states of the United Arab Emirates. The helicopter landed in the palace in Ajman and was received by His Royal Highness Sheikh Hamid bin Rashid Al Nahmi III. It was a great warm
Governance cluster chaired by the first Vice President Dr. Riek Machar listened to a memo from the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs on Public Financial Management and Accountability Act 2011 Amendment Bill 2022. Speaking to SSBC, the Deputy Minister of Cabinet Affairs Garang Tong said the bill conforms to the constitutional, legal, and political guiding principles of the revitalized transitional government of national unity. The Minister of Federal Affairs also briefed the cluster on his visit to Nigeria and South Africa.
First memo was the memo of the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs on Public Financial Management and Accountability Act 2011, Amendment Bill 2022, which was presented by Justice Robert Madola. The purpose of the bill was to conform with the Public Financial Management and Accountability Act 2011 with a constitutional, legal, and political guiding principle of the Artigono. And then we went to the third memo that was presented by the Ministry of Federal Affairs on a study visit on federal governance. It was presented by Honorable Lasuba Londro Wango. The main objectives of the memos were one was to carry out a comparative study with the countries practicing the federal system of the governance. It was also to learn from a success story and challenges in implementing that system and how to be implemented in South Sudan if it is to be adopted.
Government says it is devising plans to conduct a conference on humanitarian access to encourage protection of humanitarian workers in the country. British ambassador met Vice President Hossein Abdalbagia Call in Juba on Tuesday. The Vice President also met with the delegation from Raja and Abyei. I attended myself.
Megan from my office.
On Tuesday, Vice President Hossein Abdalbagia Call and UK Ambassador Johnny Baxter discussed protection efforts of humanitarian workers in the country, implementation process, as well as the mechanisms of mitigating communal violence for social tranquility.
And he particularly reassured me on the renewed political will, which I was very pleased to hear about. We also talked about the steps being taken to address the violence in Abyei and Upper Nile. He briefed me on the plans to protect the space for humanitarian workers in South Sudan. And I welcome his commitment to convene a conference on humanitarian access.
They have discussed issues that are posing challenge to the total peace in the country, especially the issue of subnational violence.
In other news, Abyei interim leadership delegation briefed Vice President on its support to an aid investigation committee in resolving the conflict between Twitch and Ngok Dinka.
His Excellency has told us measures and means which are being taken right now which will this conflict between the two sisterly communities.
Also, a delegation from Rajak community updated the Vice President Hossein Abdalbagia Call on the challenges facing Rajak County in terms of development. The spokesperson of Rajak community in Juba, Nasser Al-Sadiq, says they requested the Vice President to support the repatriation process of Rajak people in various refugee camps back home to contribute to the development of their area.
منطقة راية وراية بتعاني من المشاكل كثيرة ووعدنا إن هنقدم ورقة مكتوبة نقدم للسيد النائب.
Reporting for SSBC, I am Mathiang Joseph. Unity State legislators briefed Vice President Taban Dengai on the conditions of the road in the state. In a statement to SSBC, the state speaker Nyer Bangot said floods destroyed the roads in the state.
We, the members of Unity State Transitional Legislative Assembly, brief His Excellency on the disconnectivity of Unity State from the rest of the country by flood that has submerged the whole and completed and seasonal routes. His Excellency assured us that the issues of road is a national issue, of which the infrastructure cluster is working hard to connect the whole country with road network as to promote social integration of the people of Son.
Vice President Taban Dengai and Jikany community discussed resolving revenge killings by youth. Speaking during the meeting, Vice President Taban Dengai urges community elders to end revenge killing in Jikany community. A representative of the team, Samant Shuchier, said the meeting agreed on forming a committee to organize a reconciliation conference.
We have come to the office of Vice President Gerald Taban Dengai to consult him on issues of revenge killing in our community, Wheat County, the Jikany community of Western Nuer. So we have discussed a lot of things, a lot of issues, and the main issue is the revenge killing among our youth in
the village and inventive. So as a community, we have come out with a number of issues, resolutions. One of them is to form a committee, and that committee will be a high committee that will oversee all the activities regarding the reconciliation process between our communities. And this is about the meeting of today with Gerald Tabandengai. And he urged us to unite as a community, to remain committed, to remain faithful in everything that we are doing in the community. And we are committed as a political leaders, as elders, as members of the community to aim to bring it to an end, the issue.
The National Parliament has passed the Constitution Making Process Bill 2022. These and more after the break.
My brothers and sisters, the graduating cadet, from today, you are not the military wing of any of the parties. You are now the first national security sector organs of the Republic of South Sudan. We are committed to the San Egidio Rome framework, and we encourage all of you to also take it seriously so that all of us participate in building our country together as people of one nation.
Welcome back and thank you for tuning in. Let's go to Parliament, where the Transitional Legislative Assembly, chaired by Speaker Jemanunu Kumba, passed the Constitution Making Process Bill 2022 on Tuesday. The chairperson of the Assembly's Committee on Legislation and Justice, Dr. James Mabor, said the committee recommended civil education participation of persons with disabilities in constitution-making process. In a statement to SSBC, the chairperson of Information Committee, John Agany, said the bill will prepare the country for a permanent constitution.
Be accountable to the people of South Sudan to ensure that no parts of the public are excluded from civic education and participation for reasons of physical disability, level of education, language, geographic location, religious beliefs, ethnicity, political affiliation, or any other reasons.
Congratulations to the National Legislative Assembly for passing this important bill, which has been called for by the agreement, and it is one of the bill that will prepare the nation of South Sudan to have a working constitution, which is a permanent constitution.
South Sudan and Sudan have demonstrated commitment to abide by the Abiy protocols. The delegations of the two countries met in Khartoum on Tuesday. The meeting called for immediate service delivery, is speeding up development through oil revenue, providing security and promoting dialogue to improving relations between Ngok Dinka and Mesiria. As Gore Anthony reports, the deputy chairperson of the Sudan Sovereign Council, Mohamed Hamdan Daglo Emeti, signed on behalf of the government of Sudan, while Tut Galwak signed on behalf of the government of South Sudan.
Despite being one of the oil-rich region, Abyei remains disputed territory between Sudan and South Sudan. The region is underdeveloped in all aspects, with lack of social services such as clean drinking water, poor road network, hospitals, and schools for its inhabitants, the Ngok Dinka and Misiria. The fate of final status of Abyei remains uncertain, and this hampered the effective delivery of social services to this territory. Recently, the two governments of Sudan and South Sudan formed committees that would dialogue on resolving the final status of Abyei. And so far, so good. In its first meeting in Khartoum, the committees made a major breakthrough as far as this file is concerned. The two principals, headed by the Vice President of Sudan Sovereign Council, Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, aka Himiti, and the Presidential Advisor on National Security Affairs, Tut Galwak, signed a document that including the following: committing themselves to adhere to the previous signed protocols, be it on Comprehensive Peace Agreement of 2005 or the 2009 Hague ruling on Abyei, which gave the territory special status with a separate administrative unit.
أهم حاجة في ما يتفق عليه إنه اتفاق على خارطة طريق لإيجاد الحل النهائي لمنطقة أبيعي، وده شيء تم الليلة في الاجتماع. من أهم حاجة إنه الاتفاق النهائي لمنطقة أبيعي يعتمد على المرجعات والاتفاقيات السابقة، وده مهم جدا حتى إنه نجد الحل النهائي لمنطقة أبيعي. في إنه الطرفين في طريقهم لإيجاد الحل النهائي لابد إنه الناس يوفروا الخدمات والأمن للمنطقة أبيعي، وده من الحاجات الأساسية. الطرفين اتفقوا على أساس توفير الأمن للمنطقة وبالأخص الخدمات والتنمية، حتى إنه الناس يرجعوا لمناطقهم في وقت إنهم ينتظروا الحل النهائي لقضية أبيعي.
Resolving the outstanding disputes in an amicable and peaceful manner, the parties also called for immediate release of 4% oil shares, 2 for Abyei and 2 for Warab, respectively, to be utilized for effective social service delivery and development in the area. Need for community dialogue between Ngok Dinka and Misiria to foster peaceful coexistence, unity and reconciliation, as well as provision of security in the territory. Creation of conducive atmosphere for the two communities, the Ngok Dinka and Misiria. The parties also appealed to the regional and international community to help in maintaining peace, security, and delivering of humanitarian aids to the population in Abyei.
الطرفان سيسعوا إلى تقديم الخدمات والوصول لجميع المجتمعات لمساعدتهم من ناحية إنسانية، وأيضا تحقيق التنمية. وتمت الدعوة أو الاتفاق على تشجيع الحوار المجتمعي والتواصل بين المجتمعات في أبيعي لتحقيق مزيد من بناء الثقة. دعا الطرفان المجتمع الإقليمي والدولي لمساندة الطرفين في جهودهما نحو التوصل إلى الأمن والاستقرار والتنمية والحل النهائي للتوافق عليه في أبيعي.
According to the delegation, which including Minister of East Africa Community, Deng Alor Kwal, Abyei intellectuals, Dr. Francis Mading Deng, Dr. Luka Biong Deng, and Dr. Arob Deng Kwal, the two parties agreed to meet from time to time, either in Juba or Khartoum, to monitor the progress made and situations on the ground as they continue to dialogue on finding final status of Abyei once and for all. The signing of this document between the two governments gives more hope and green light to the forgotten inhabitants of Abyei, the Ngok Dinka and Misiria, who are hoping to see the positive results in the nearest future. Gore Anthony, SSBC News, Khartoum, Sudan.
Going back implementation of the Juba Peace Agreement.
الاجتماع خلصت
بعض القضايا التي تواجهت التنفيذ. واحد منها هي عدم الاستقرار السياسي الموجود الآن في السودان. نأمل إنه الأطراف السياسية في السودان تصل للاتفاق وإنشاء حكومة القومية بأسرع وقت ممكن. لاحظنا برضو إنه الاتفاق تواجه مشاكل في تمويل الاتفاقية، خاصة مع تلي الترتيبات الأمنية. السيد المستشار توت طمن الحضور على الاهتمام الرئيس سلفكير هذا الاتفاقية وتوجيهاته إنه التنفيذ الاتفاق لابد أن تصل للمحطة الأخيرة وهو دائما.
Climate Change Summit concluded in Djibouti on Tuesday. The summit proposed scientific ideas to addressing climate change in the world. The Minister of Information, Communication, Technology and Postal Services, Michael McWellworth, reiterated the commitment of the government of the South Sudan to mitigate the impacts of floods in the country. The Undersecretary of the Ministry on Environment, Joseph Africano, said the institution would work closely with the concerned authorities to address climate change in the region.
We have concluded the summit on the climatical change, and the contribution made by the technocrats was really effective and very important. The people of the Horn of Africa and especially the drought-affected and the floods-affected areas, the areas which are affected by the climate change, will definitely benefit from this institute which was inaugurated. The government of South Sudan is trying its level best, and it had also the million that will for the start as the seed money for the start, and will continue to pay until the international community comes. But we will not be waiting for the international community. We have already started paying and trying our level best to make whatever we can.
We've just completed the technical part of the summit by presentations on issues of climate modeling, issues of water resources management, and partnerships, mitigation and adaptation to the impacts of climate change. The presentations were very informative, and I'm glad that what we have gotten here today is not really different from what we have in our plans as a country. I'm trying to tell the people of South Sudan is the flooding is not only in our country. It has become a global phenomenon. Pakistan is underwater. So the issue of climate change is now an existential threat, and the global community has to come together in order to assist countries like us who have.
SPLM Chief Whip Rebecca Joshua Okwachi and German Ambassador Tobias Enchina discussed bilateral relations between the two countries. In a statement to SSBC, Ambassador Tobias commended the government of South Sudan for implementing the peace agreement.
I met the Honorable Government Chief Whip today again. It was a very fruitful and very constructive, and for me a very useful exchange. The Parliament of this country plays an extremely important role, in particular when it comes to the implementation of the revitalized peace agreement. And also we have the roadmap now that gives detailed tasks to all political actors so as to make sure the peace agreement will be implemented. And as I said, the Parliament plays an extremely important role. And we spoke about the agenda of the Parliament, the bills to be tabled, and for me that was a very interesting and relevant insight into what the parliament is doing and the contribution of the parliament to the implementation of the peace agreement.
We had a very fruitful exchange of consultation amongst us. We briefed him on the agenda that we have, Parliament, especially on my level as the government chief whip, and I assured him that we are retabling the bills that have been returned following the withdrawal of the SPLMIO. But what's good is that our leadership, especially the principals, requested us to retable the bills. And we've taken that with the spirit of consensus. So we're happy that that spirit of consensus that is enshrined in the agreement is being experienced, and especially for us in Parliament. I appreciate the ambassador, and we see how to cooperate also on the levels of Germany and South Sudan regarding the
Coming up, floods have displaced hundreds of people in Malut in Upper Nile State. We shall have this story after the break.
South Sudan is faced with a national disaster. As a result of climate change, the country is flooded. The whole country is flooded. Many families are living in a vulnerable situation. We call on all those who could extend a helping hand to do so. We are calling on the NGOs, the UN agencies, the civil society, and good-hearted South Sudanese to extend a helping hand to those families, the vulnerable one that has been hit by floods. We keep moving from one place to the other, but they find no hiding place. Of course, they need a place to lay their head down. Floods has affected the entire country. Climate change is a reality.
Welcome back and thank you for tuning in. Floods have displaced people in Galdwar and Kor Adar Payams in Malut County in Upper Nile State. The commissioner of Malut County, Deng Jo Angok, appealed to humanitarian organizations to support the flood-affected persons.
المواطنين زي ما شايفين انه نظروا او قيام يمكن تم اخلاق بشكل مباشر نتيجه للفيضانات. جي بتاعنا جيت معي اعضاء بتاع الكوميونتي بتاع ملوت والحكومه عشان يقيم الوضع بشكل، والوضع طبعا ما دار له تقييم. كما شايفين الوضع محتاج لإنقاذ عاجل. عبر هذا المنبر ندعو كافة المنظمات إنه يتدخل بشكل عاجل حتى ينقص ما يمكن يتم إنقاذه. الوضع ممكن كارثي، جينا قبل 3 يوم وكان وضع تحت سيطرة، لكن الآن وضع خارج السيطرة بتاعت. محتاج إنه جهات دائما تتدخل بشكل مباشر. دائما نحاول على الأخوان في الشركات أو في الشركة بتاع دار إنه يمد يده بشكل أكبر، برغم هم مقصرين لكن برضه طالبين يزيدوا المجهود بتاعهم. ممكن ما عندنا الإحصائية واضح، لكن الأسرة المضرة ممكن بتفوق أكثر من 30,000 أسرة، ولسه الإحصائية ماشية. ممكن في تضرر كبير بالنسبة للأطفال، مدارس طلبات. ممكن برضو الجائز الحاجات دي كلها ممكن تضرر لكن الحمد لله نشكر ربنا انه حتى الان ما في حاله بتاعت وفاه.
The Deputy Governor of Western Bargazal State, Zakaria Joseph Garang, and the Country Director of the International Organization for Migration, Peter Van Der, discussed cooperation and continuation of the organization's humanitarian projects in the state. Peter Van Der said the meeting discussed developmental projects and the voluntary return of the displaced persons home.
Discussed how we can support the authorities and the RDPs that are in the current or in the former POC, how we can help with that they find permanent solutions so that they no longer have to live in the camp. So we committed that IOM will continue to work with the authorities in finding and supporting the implementation of the appropriate solutions. We also discussed our ongoing World Bank projects. IOM has just concluded 19 construction projects in Western Bahr-el-Ghazal funded by the World Bank. And we hope and we aim to increase our development work in Western Bahr-el-Ghazal, because when Western Bahr-el-Ghazal is one of the areas in South Sudan where, yes, we have to do some humanitarian assistance, but we can increasingly focus on development works for making sure that the state continues on the road towards prosperity. And we expressed our commitment to continue and where possible increase our work.
University of Juba, in partnership with the World Food Programme, signed a memorandum of understanding to promote research and knowledge sharing to achieve sustainable development goals. In a statement to SSBC, the university's Vice Chancellor, Professor John Akech, commended the UN agency for the partnership. He said the university is committed to social transformation through research and service delivery. World Food Programme Acting Deputy Country Director Herilat Manhat said they are committed to promoting sustainable development in South Sudan.
Involved with your work and be able to actually generate data which will sometimes I have thought that it's important to be able to measure effectiveness. Sometimes I have thought that if I have to look at a pin and see how all this new material is distributed.
We want to take this opportunity to enhance the collaboration with all our partners, and particularly with universities and other research institutes. So this is one of our key priorities as we go forward. I also want to reiterate the critical role.
South Sudan National Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Agriculture, and delegates from the 10 states and the 3 administrative areas have agreed to extend their elections for 2 years. Speaking to the media, the Chamber's chairperson, Ladu Lukak, has cited economic crisis, floods, and insecurity as the major problems to delay the election.
فنحن الليلة سيدين عشان مجلس الإدارة الليلة قاعد برئاسة مولانا في شؤون القانونية، وكل الإجراء مشى بطريقة قانوني ومنظم، وكل الإجراءات الولايات كله وفقوا لأنهم باس السنتين على حسب السياسات الحكومة ماشية.
في نفس الوقت أنا بقول لكم بنحبكم شديد، احنا في غرفه تجاريه ودائما ابدا احنا تحت خدمتكم، واحنا دايرين الحاجه الافضل لنا يعني احنا كتجار، والتجار دائما ابدا هم بيكونوا الرمز بتاع السلام، لانه في اي محل التاجر بيحط البذره حقته عشان هو الشريان الحياه بالنسبه للمواطن القاعد.
The extension, it will allow the National Chamber of Commerce to prepare for the election, because now there is a crisis. I think there's no money. All of us, even the government, even the private sector, because business is not as usual. That's the reason.
From me and the team, I am Mathiang Yodef, and thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for more programs coming up.
I never believed in love, baby, until the moment when I met you, girl. She looked determined until she genuinely yet kiddo. She genuinely kalat katel, kajodu me shuni loyda. She mandu shabal, she la jasha dikan gan kir. She told me she loved me. I was like, oh why me? She was mad did to kill a don't baby. Shaboom ni retanika. Killer her ni money. Bunchum kill bunny. That's why she got me singing like, ooh, she's a South Sudan diva. And she just came from nowhere. Now she's taking me somewhere. And I wish I can make her mine. She's a South Sudan diva. And she just came from nowhere. Now she's taking me somewhere. And I wish I could make her mine. Come dance with me. Sasamuwa. Got doing it. Very doing it. Come dance with me. Sasamuwa. Got doing it. Very doing it. And when I dream, the only one I see is you. And my heart is true, Ganyal, she the major. Touch me, baby, don't shy away. I always thank God you came my way. She know me at a loy, Ganyal, me kind of chat. She hear me can knock money, me she like the shahi. Habana haba ujaza kebab. I love the way you are so amazing. Turn on my girl, you know I'm your romantic. You are my strength when I fly in the air. To believe when I say that. I only leave when I'm next to you. Turn up my girl, you know I'm your romantic. You are my strength when I fly in the air. To believe when I say that. I only leave when I'm next to you. Come dance with me, Sasamua. Girl, doing me tonight. Come dance with me, Sasamua. To believe when I say that. I only leave when the next day. Turn up my girl, you know I'm your romantic. You are my strength when I fly in the air. To believe when I say that. I only leave when I'm next to you. Lord Simon on the mic, representing SPU Dynasty. Yeah. And she got me singing like, ooh, she's a South Sudan diva. And she just came from nowhere. Now she's taking me somewhere. And I wish I can make her mine. She's a South Sudan diva. And she just came from nowhere. Now she's taking me somewhere. And I wish I could make her mine. I do it for this. Yeah.
Natili lagon wazir terbiya velaini na tabu brinje mo baino be babin da lubu tawda gana wade ke mata sanango da karabu na tamata sanango da kan gabal manditi amboro gabal manditi abusa lakini lilasaf shadid fi sori no rati alo bi saban sana di madrasa bi greta bagari and this one and this one and that thing in this one one of the matim ke kwete gwa mati magawi na wi beranda wan ke ga karanda ade maana bugo ade be ana gago ke ndinga ndiro ta bindo ka America ta mase tawo ta juba ka we ni ta na ba ni ta kuma ta ke dan garate ko bagar no so o rinde akara ke Moruri don't you know what is set to go for that? Then don't you only you I only get his iron of the around book. I shan't get a matter of sorry of the General Rizzi Wuto Belso Bear, you got a banner. I got telephone. The two that General. Rizzi. Here, so no Jana. I didn't go to the phone. Wo gano suno. Kakarano abazi agona tie wo. Kakarano beseli agona tie wo. Ne inte gizu atero now. Kayo gati akuba tabi fanati. Kawinda kubata. Kia yung nga bagay no ayong kwa. Kaya o ban. Daw na nena mo ha biso. Duma bo ba si won na tabu bi local na sama kanu su ga be o ne so mo bi wo de ama bi su ko no be bi we ne so an wo ma da ta ke je bi branda a ta ju wala do tu na so na ti tu bata e do wo ne so mo bi wo de ka ka wa ja go bi ma ta so ko no da ka ta ju ma ta sa na ma ni so tu waranda badal ma ni ti wo da ko ton dire di de ke kon da tu da ja ko ni ta na ja ko tin dia randa do randa do ko bi tu ga se tu bata to ju Taula do mano ko banje anda tabu ai do wo do no tabu atina General Benson bo ba ke ti seri do mo atina ni maga ti so ba wa ma bo ba ti mo ati ya no ru je la ta bikis aboka ni ta de ko ari je bo ko na ari je bo mo ni ta je ma no ta na anda ko ba andan ta bo ba da so da salamati de riang ma tari do ro na mi so ba kilo tu kena kala ko ngene tabari ke no riang ma tari do kilo ri sa pero no ti non ta be ra ti ba no a riang ma sa kena kala ka ti da tu ka wi en do ba rin do ka sa ti do tu ko tu bu de tin mo de sa ni no me ara ba nga kin da la mo tu ti ma fu ma ya uru ni ta kin da pe a modeli zinderi wi tamata sakindano alo subanto talim na matipa bana modeli nengi sole timata sokwe bano ka modeli mozo ka modeli zindana na chwali na habi waswa talim no to ngai ko lakini wanje no be feri tino no si talim matipa neswa Belgira no gisa men no Belgira no gisa mo da wani bir na bela no an gobi apa bir ko no ane nu ati ko ku kana wan be no ku no ndi na ngai le na no a jabo wala me sulta ati no ka wi da ngai ba ber tai ko jare ma da le na no a jabo no jabo yi ai wa jabo no ma to no se ti ndi sa o jabo ko ti no ku ta kan no ku no ti wuru wa no bere ka me no bere akon to ba na adu no bere ngoro mi se be na le ba no di mo fa wonja ma so bu be di mo no anga no ka ban ti no apa fa no bere o ban ti no me do ni no jabo de to ki ni wọ́n ti pọ̀ sí jàbọ́ tí a jàbọ́ ní tẹ̀gbọ́ngbò ńà tí agbóngbò ńà ní àti pọ̀ sí jàbọ́ yè. Ní ti pọ̀ lórí jàbọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ti sọ jàbọ́ wọ kúbi tán náà ní dábàá jàbọ́ tẹ̀ náà wẹ̀. Tẹ̀rẹ́ àkẹ́ngbò náà jàbọ́ tẹ̀gbẹ́ náà àtàngbò náà àgbà ìnàgbà ìnùgbà. Dìmọ̀ fáwọn jẹ́ kà ń sàtì pọ̀ tí ń wù yè náà gbàrà jẹ̀mí rẹ̀. Sọ̀rọ̀ títí máa kọ́ kẹta gbà náà. Bopin di dulu ketaka, bagi sun ale sugro tamba jauh begaba di muka wajarno aja bola. Kita jauh berapa mana? Hari di kami. Di bisa berbakar. Jauh berapa ni seri kan ni berapa tu? Awuran jasus pun. Ni tidak takkan no. Ni tak ayu bahkan jangan no juru no. Ngawuran anda ngotot wan tu tak. Dagon jabo maka na mango tele di so dia na nze wono ti doda ka jabo ko na no ka ne ri beda so ma ko no sala no mo tira ka bi a jabo ta o di bizira be be di masala ame di ma musala la amma salam na ki magare foto kuti bi salam na me ama ni notice adi mas o di ka to na no maka fi fa to la ba ti dia Jadi dijual kan jabo, naik ke sini orang jabo, kan jabo lah, orang itu sudah jabo kan. Hakika no na na mati ni bega. Munu wali dora tan. Israel be kono mo kakara kino tawo. Ya wazira terbiya. Wazira terbiya zakar Minister of Education. The economic immigration are going on in Brazil and Gazalia except Baga. You have to come to the Siana, this all the man they know Gazalia, the man they Brazil. I'm the Bagari Barundi. Andy, Abazia Makayola, Abasalia Makayola, do Lawan, saying do not always Iran. A true, but Kabada and Bone. Up on board. Awaja da mazala na tembola. Wazira turu ke Bagari Barundi. Ana kamboro na Makayola. Negera yunga Bagari no be atale yang bide sibiten ya Bagari ba matin. Ndi so ma hakuma kero mapia hakuma kero. Abezira lo hakuma ki wanda. Lanu practically ma bi wujud ta hakuma be Bagari. So hakuma cannot be blamed في محل هم فوق المسيطر على بقارب قيادات الأهلية والعسكرية بتلايو كالمعرض. شو هي ما تقول بقارب ده بقارب بندي مدير تاني من أبو بكر. ده حقيقة. عند أبل هي كمان ده يقولوا بقى. 7 سنين بدون مدرسة. نسوا مستقبل يوم ما وصل ما نتاكل بدون بنعم تاني. هاوي ده كمان مدرسة لا. ما هو بدر تقول عند ما قط عن مدرسة 20 سنة أدين كنا وقعنا اتفاق. Because of who is taking Askaria, as I let it by the Garusia of Ukraine. Who may Fuzula? The Olegana or Casa is Mati, Mami Muntasel. I shall kill an ever to Yano. Nema Jabota dollar, $10. Nabiana Tan, the soup in Gobizan, Bagarno, Adi Orion Joey Best. What they are not the old. Here, what they be at be around. Would answer to go to Naiwai to get out. Sonata Marana or Susua or when I to wait. That they are followed, now getting to now we pity the Andaman's over. In Salaman Damawa, the people, I did to rubber. But the people are here. But that is the Pendinos there. Can I not approve this? You will be my little movements, people will be selling a Monday. Run the better of the on the piano. Let the Hamel Musulia and the Antica Salatin, or the Ula, the Windula. Ula not be Sultan, or cannot be a telling the people Sudan. So no one of put it in. Ula Vara, Nigga Biala, one of them. Would it happen? So no, the general. Tagabento. Musulia was a lot of that my Mabu Bonno. You don't know how to that I'm so now we have it. Can please send me the tickets and not a but then you have to make a office and not a take a Calano. But the Carbon moving coming to America, coming to Australia, you have a look at it back to go on also. That is what I mean. To go on also. And see some des abomena Javori Torana attending Jobu, which is Gabano, other Jabo. Nashokura Maratani, Sukura Kulu, Kawi Madarasa, Nashukura Ziada San Mary, Shukura and Jikanisa Kasukia. Mandi Kanisa, Lama, let the Lene Shukuka Zimutra. No man can use a big matters and so Magarina. Now, do a general bench of the Minatano Hamistash, yes, it was Minatano Hamistash, I am with Sarah Durata with Akuma Magar. Now for 7 years. The given with us at the start that. Then we put the good cake. Never got one and more rugby, the layers of sugar.
ودير أسلم بشكل خاص جنرال جانسون القيادات العسكرية المعاونة حاتم وجوشيندو ورزق. بقول لكم من حارم سعيد مع المرأة والشباب وابونا فرانسيس. ايضا بسلم بشكل خاص على الايام بتاعت المدارس اللي استقبلونا استقبال كبير جدا. ايام بتاع سان ميري. بقول لكم السلام عليكم. وكان في زياره، انا كنت في زياره كنت نائب الحاكم الوقت ده، وكان معي دكتور عادل التناسي السرور وزير التربيه. جينا نزور المدارس هنا وجينا لحد المنطقه بتاعت الروض دكانا ومشينا مجاري لفينا المناطق هنا لحد الفريلنا ورجعنا بالتعدو لحد ما مشينا لواو. الكلام ده ممكن يكون قبل 8 سنوات. الليله بنكون هنا في المجاري معناتها بالتحول تاريخي كبير جدا. انا بدي اذكر اول حاجه جنرال جانسون. هو بدا اتصال وانا بجيت اتكلم معاه بالتليفون انه دايرين نزور في المنطقه بتاعت الغالي. هو قدم لنا الدعوه عشان نكتب. والرجل كان صادق في الكلام بتاعه وفعلا ان احنا جينا وتم استقبال كبير جدا. انا بشكرك كثير جنرال جانسون. وانا ما جيت براي، انا جيت مع ولد بتاعكم اللي هي كاميلا ديمو. هسه كان بيتكلم هنا وزير بتاع كابينت افيرز. جيت برضه مع جاني سانتا كورندا وزير الشؤون البرلمانيه ووزير بتاع لوكال جفرمنت الانابه. ايضا انا جيت مع وزير التربيه سايمون اكورد اتواي. وانا جيت مع لجنه الامن معي قائد ثاني اللواء مكوي هو الماسك العمليات في ديفيجن 5. وجيت مع جرمية مكير العميد مدير الشرطه بالانابه. وايضا جيت مع فرانكو هو قائد بتاع جهاز الامن واو. ونحن جينا معانا سبورت ستاف بتاعنا. جينا نزور اهلنا في بقاي. والزياره دي زياره تاريخيه. انا افتكر انه لانه بقاري واحد من المناطق بتاع ولايه غرب بحر الغزال زيه وزي واو زيه وزي راجع زيه وزي هناكو وكل المناطق. المواطنين الموجودين هنا ده مواطنين بتاع ولايه غرب بحر الغزال. القيادات العسكريه الموجودين هنا هم قيادات عسكريه بتاع ولايه غرب بحر الغزال. والارض الموجوده ارض بتاع ولايه غرب بحر الغزال. اذا ما في حاجه بمعنى نجي لحد هنا. ما في حاجه بمعنى انه نحن نقدم الخدمات للناس اللي قاعدين دي سواء كان تعليم او مويه او طرق او غيره. ده مهم جدا عشان المواطن لازم يعيش. المواطن عنده الحق بتاع الحياه الكريمه. نحن والشركاء بتاعنا نحن نساعد المواطنين الموجودين ده. نحن نتفق مع القيادات العسكريه الموجودين هنا زي ما نحن وقعنا اتفاقيه معاكم هنا يومتها في 2018. انا كنت وقعت عليهم مذكره تفاهم. واحد من اسباب بتاع مذكره التفاهم عشان نحن نفتح الشوارع. اي زول عنده بافرا بامبي زرعه هنا عنده فول زرعه غير يوديه سوق واو يبيعه من هناك. هو بيجي راجع بسوي حاجه بسيط شايل سكر شايل ملح شايل اي حاجه من هنا صابون تجي يعيش له هنا. دايرين نجدد المساله دي. الشوارع دي لازم يكون فاتح والمواطن يحس بامان انه ماشي لواو وجاي راجع للواو للمنطقه بتاعه هنا. سواء كان هو جاي من جودكنا ولا جاي من بقاري ولا جاي من فرجنا يمر بحريه تامه. ده الحاجه اللي احنا دايرينه، وده يكون معنا بتاع السلام، وده معنا بتاع الاستقرار. نحن جينا هنا عشان نؤكد تاكيد تام انه نحن من اجل السلام، نحن من اجل الحريه والسلام، نحن من اجل الاستقرار. عشان كده نحن جينا هنا. الان نحن بنأكد الكلام ده ونحن موجودين في بقاري كل الحكومه، وباستقبلنا قيادات بتاع الاي او في منطقه بتاعت بقاري، لانه السمعه بتاعت قيادات بتاعت اي او الموجودين في بقاري هنا برا هناك الناس بيسمعوا عنهم كلام كثير وكلام ما كويس. نحن قاعد نسمعه من المنظمات، من الحكومه، من اي زول. لكن الليله ده يوم جديد وصفحه جديده في التاريخ بتاع المنطقه. نحن دايرين نمسح من راسكم الحاجات اللي قاعدين يقولوا عندكم ده، وانتوا تثبتوا الكلام ده انه الكلام ده ما موجود. ونحن وجودنا هنا بنثبت الكلام ده انه فعلا الكلام ده ما موجود. الليله يوم جديد وتاريخ جديد نحن نعمله هنا. دايرين وزير التربيه يجي يشوف المدارس زي ما قبل نحن لما جايين نحن شفنا مدرسه بقاري الزنج بتاعه كله قلع بفوق هناك. سيد الوزير خد المزرعه ده في الاولويات بتاعك تعمل سياره في مدرسه بقاري. نشوف في مراكز صحيه حالتها ما كويسه. نحن المره الجايه جايين الوزير بتاع الصحه يجي براءه بدون اي حرج.
Gora tire
my friend, my best friend, more than a friend to me. My backbone, my everything, from day one to the rest of the day. Noga chikaloy de kill you. Noga me tell me dear man acting. Tell me dear me gay, tell me dear man acting. Chabi cheke me chin and dal me shala wurin. Look down below, with your man don't ken ganyade. Chukoda lara wo, teche kabakami, don't see kabalabji. Chamal kayapin, teje jiguadin. Come near noga mekaloy the kerle, what in the altin go brain noka, big go when the kin. I didn't queen. Baratol kadwini den kayet ken. Gomba jakaji baben kaji kachokan. Urangasa. Wine mugwa, right mugwa. Hit to go, chang to go. Like you and by your tea. Nyal by your tea. Baby. Like mugwa and Shannon. Jaka warnyal. Don't make a mode gangja. Come near by your tea. Loi du badundan kere
Podama ye loi de jame ki loi de kana me kamran ya pe nei di algoran nam gangye ba kam ju ko biu yin loi du ba ki nam ne kon yal na ke right to go to la de ti ngal loi de piu de kwai kwai can ye ga long ke yo ikwenan kan ya mai kan nam ne kon yal ne ken yin man me bai wo du para goi du na va yo me login ai ngute di antame ba loi ke shamen go loi de go pai jaga shabla palwa
loi ndugwa an chanen jekka warnyal dum come on, they come here. Come here, by your bill. Will I do badundan care?
Podama, you like the jam. Like the kana me come round. Japan, the algorithm. Gangye, but come you go be you. You like to be.
She not guadajuk,
she not guadajuk.
Mingoraman, she comes a love and y'all kill you. Chagwashi in a dunga. Young man come be like Shara, young be like Timo. Or your march, you like the jam, make a G. Like the kind of make them run, Japan, ideal good and I'm not gay. But come you go be you, you know, like do by your key. Or the march, you like the jam, make a G.